Welcome to the Diversity Connector podcast, where we explore the rich tapestry of human experiences. I'm your host, Gertrude Mache, and I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the country on which we meet today. I would also like to pay my respects to elders, past, present, and emerging, and together as we dive into conversations that bridge cultures, challenge stereotypes, and celebrate the unique perspectives each of us brings to the table. Each episode is a journey through stories and insights from a kaleidoscope of voices, each sharing their colorful narrative. Whether you're at home, on the go, or just anywhere in between, you're now part of a community that values understanding, inclusivity, and the beauty of diversity. So plug in your headphones, get comfortable, and let's connect through the power of our shared stories. Welcome, and thank you for joining us on the Diversity Connector podcast. Hello, everyone. This is Gertrude Mache here in beautiful Melbourne, Australia. And today I am graced with the presence of yet another fascinating young woman. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our tribe. Please tell everybody your full name, where you're based, how old you are, and share your story with us today.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for the invitation, Gertrude. My name is Zusana Dostolova. I am based in Basel, Switzerland. I am 28 years old, and I'm here to present Women in Data Science, specifically the Zurich chapter. We are a nonprofit organization that wants to highlight the amazing contributions women do in the field and help them break through into the field of data science with the support of our annual conferences, workshops, and the free resources we offer to help not only young professionals, but also seasoned professionals to actually upskill and break into this field by building a supportive community of women and to help them break through these gender confines when celebrating their successes. We've been active since 2015 when this initiative took off in Stanford. And since then, we have reached a global presence with ours being here in Zurich, Switzerland, not actually Basel. As I mentioned, the integral part of our initiative is to inspire, to encourage women and support them in the pursuit and excellence of their data science careers. We are volunteers, ambassadors that organize this conference, that select speakers that are successful women in data science to inspire our audience in pursuing the data science career themselves. We organize annual technical conference, workshops, and side events where our participants can network, they can explore the landscape, particularly for us in Switzerland, where they could work in the field of data science and how could they advance their professional career. We are also known for our inclusivity and diversity. We are drawing participants from any backgrounds, variety of industries, and different gender groups. We would like them to explore the latest trends, tools, and methodologies in data science through the events and datathons that we offer. We advocate for diversity in STEM, and we provide our participants and followers a community where they can always find a helping hand, where they can get inspired, they can get new connections, new ideas, brainstorm their career options going forward. And we are always trying to improve our offerings, to grow, strengthen our network. We have brought together over 660 participants already from the past conferences that we started here in Switzerland, in Zurich in 2018. And since then, we have been able to celebrate the success of many amazing women's contributions to the field. What I think is also quite important to mention is that with women in data science worldwide was born out of the pressing need of addressing the glaring underrepresentation of women in data science. It's a sector that is increasingly pivotal to any part of our lives. It's shaping healthcare, safety, and economic prosperity, all the issues that women also need to have their voice heard in, and also climate change modeling. They are issues that influence all of us, and we want to make sure that there are no biases and that it's equitable as much as possible. Women constitute less than 20% of students and 10% of decision makers in data science. And this disparity threatens to perpetuate biases and inequalities, but also overlooks the critical issues that women are involved in or that influence women, such as healthcare issues or safety. And recognizing these challenges, WITS worldwide embarked on a mission to elevate and empower women in the field for more balanced representation and to mitigate unconscious biases, ensuring prioritization of issues critical to women. We are passionate about creating an equitable, diverse, and inclusive data science landscape, and our mission is called 30 by 30. We would like to achieve 30% of representation of women in education, innovation, and leadership in data science by 2030. And we believe that reaching this critical threshold is essential for fostering a more inclusive culture and catalyzing the journey towards equal participation. This is crucial for reducing biases in data-driven decision-making that affects all of us across the globe in every field that you can think of, such as education, healthcare, economic prosperity. We are grounded in the foundational principles of diversity, equity, and inclusion. We offer our programming courses and resources at no cost to ensure model that promotes agency and ownership across our global community. From our datathon and upskill workshops to our ambassador programs and educational efforts, every aspect of WITS is aimed to support, inspire, and educate women in data science, reducing barriers to career successes. We envision a world in the future where women are fully integrated and equally represented in all areas of data science, including AI, participating equally in decision-making, economic prosperity, and opportunities. Through our efforts, we not only aim to address the talent shortage in the workforce, but also ensure the transformative journey of data science, which benefits all of the segments of social all segments of society equitably. Join our journey to help us reshape the future of data science, making it more inclusive, equitable, and representative of the world that we live in.
Susana, your story is absolutely inspiring. Your organization is doing a tremendous job to try and level out the playing field in areas where we don't normally find women active and contributing. So, can you share your personal journey into data science from a life sciences background? How do you believe your unique perspective contributes to your work in genome data analysis and healthcare solutions?
So, as you said, Gertrude, I started as a life scientist, and my transition into data science is even more interesting from the perspective of me moving geographically, as I come from the Czech Republic. And so, when I moved to Switzerland, I actually found out about Women in Data Science Zurich and Women in Data Science, which also inspired me in pursue the career in data science. I actually found my job after going to the conference and networking and exploring the possibilities. Honestly, just having the option or knowing that you can pursue a career in data science is extremely helpful in shaping the positive mindset, visualizing that you can achieve this goal. And for me personally, I've joined also a data science course through which then I was able to join Women in Data Science Zurich. And afterward, through this network, I also found my current position where I work as a data scientist, and I couldn't be happier.
Wow.
I also think that, oh, sorry.
No, keep going.
I just meant to answer still for the perspective of life scientist working in data science. I think that that's also representative of basically what we are trying to do, to have diverse backgrounds, people from diverse countries, to include all the unique points of view, which, let's say, from life science we can bring, knowing a lot of the underlying biological processes that happen. Let's say I work specifically in a company, in a department focused on oncology. And it's definitely helpful, the domain knowledge that I bring over from life science.
I love it. So, from your experience, how does diversity in data science teams influence the approach and success of projects, especially in healthcare and genome analysis?
So I think I've mentioned that diversity is definitely not only a catalyst, but a necessity for us going forward in data science. And what the company that I work for is currently doing is also we are trying to ensure exactly this equitable research for all the segments of our society as we have global presence, not only here in Europe, where there are a few of our groups, but globally, especially in the US, EMEA, and APAC. And what we need to do is, let's say, realize all the different segments of society that we are going to influence with our decisions. Let's say, I think that really, sorry, I fumbled up there a bit. What I think that is really important is that we ensure that the decision makers come from all the segments of the society, right? Because how else can we make
Yes.
sure that it's equitable for everyone? So I think that's generally the idea for WITS, also for my company, to bring everyone, to give everyone a voice and make sure that they can represent not only themselves, but everyone, all the aspects of our lives, all the segments of the society. So I think it's really just giving everyone a voice and making sure that no one is left behind in this transformation, which is the idea. It's not only to promote women, but also other underrepresented gender and groups in data science.
Wow. So, as a woman in a STEM field and president of WIDS Zurich, what are some of the challenges that you faced in promoting diversity and inclusion? And how have you overcome these challenges?
So I think our story, mine and Wit's, is always really aligned on this.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's difficult to envision certain things when you don't see them around as much, which is not very eloquently said. But I mean, when I saw women being more represented in data science, I started believing that it could be one of them could be me as well, let's say.
Yeah.
So it's really amazing to see so many amazing role models, which I think thanks to women in data science, is also being more and more prevalent nowadays. And these challenges, I think, was basically just for my limited beliefs, not thinking that I could make the transition. And then basically moving away from my home country, challenging my worldviews, challenging basically this limiting belief that maybe data science is just for people who already have the background, who already have the background of computer science, and then seeing that there are actually tons of women, tons of people who have transitioned from a different field and being even more successful and benefiting off of their domain knowledge that they bring over. So I think the challenge was really maybe moving during COVID, during the pandemic, having this uncertainty, not having any network in Switzerland, and then basically being lucky enough to join a community that brings women and other genders in data science up and helping with this challenge of, let's say, searching for community, searching for support and resource materials to actually be able to advance your career, to find the inspiration and strength to go forward, even if you hit any obstacles on the way.
That's wonderful. So, in your work with Cancer DataNet and TriNet X Oncology, how important is the diversity of the genome data in improving outcomes for cancer patients, for a start? And can you share an example where diverse data led to a breakthrough?
As I mentioned, it's truly important to us as we are trying to encompass all the tiers of our society, let's say, all across the world. I think, I'm not sure if I know that much off the top of my head, but we have definitely tons of resources. We are very active on posting on our LinkedIn profile. We are also publishing. We are part of many conferences across the world as well, having a global presence.
Yes.
Sorry.
No, keep going.
I think you meant to say something.
No, keep going.
Definitely. I think that there are a lot of efforts that are supported by our work now, reaching out different countries, really making sure that all of the members of society are represented. For the specific breakthrough, I think we would have to consult, our page and our representatives for that. But I definitely think that good things are coming from these efforts, as we are really committed to diversity and inclusion, just as Women in Data Science is. We are actually, that's actually a good bridge, because there is this datathon on breast cancer that is provided by Gilead Sciences and Verity Health. It encompasses the US data, and basically currently our team in Trinetics as well is working on this challenge, is participating. And what what is the goal of this challenge is we have a data set of breast cancer data patients who have at one point or the other developed metastases. But we want to predict which of these patients will have the metastatic breast cancer diagnosis within 90 days.
Okay.
So, and the data that we have is, most of it is then on the zip code level. And what is interesting to see, right, is the accessibility to hospitals, let's say. So somebody who might live in some more rural area might be diagnosed later than someone who maybe lives in a city, or depending on their insurance type, or maybe on the income of their household. Or let's say there are some environmental factors. So I find this really interesting, and this challenge is meant to bring to the limelight, let's say, the differences that there might be on how people receive timely healthcare, because the intervention here is very important. Timely intervention can make a huge change in the outcome. Definitely. And also, let's say one of the things that we brainstorm was the language barrier. So let's say if somebody's first language isn't English, then they might also have troubles communicating with their physician. They might be even intimidated in going to the hospital and discussing their health situation with the doctor. So that's also part of how we are committed to diversity, both with and Trinetics, as we are trying to, let's say, help with this prediction or help develop models that could, I hope, potentially in the future also help determine how to make sure everybody receives timely treatment, or what are the limiting factors, what are the barriers.
Okay. So, how has mentorship played a role in your career? And how do you mentor others to promote diversity in data science and healthcare?
That's an excellent question. Through the network of women in data science, actually, there are many local events here that we also partake in. And I think that's really an incredible opportunity to, let's say, as you said, be a mentor or a mentee,
Yes.
and let's say help young professionals or maybe somebody transitioning into data science to, from, it can be from hackathons to, different workshops. So in hackathons, maybe we, as in Women in Data Science, Zurich, we mentored our mentees, the participants in the Hackathon Lead Hackathon that is happening here in Switzerland as well. It's also a
Right.
huge event. It's incredible. And so also there is a majority participation of women. There's really huge focus on diversity. And I think that that goes for everything that you learn by doing, right? So, or by actually teaching someone or trying to explain, uncovering your own, let's say, blind spots, which always happens to me. And it's great to experience this from both sides, and having incredible role models. Well, in my professional career or in this volunteering position, it really makes a huge difference. As you mentioned, I'm serving as this year's president, but I really am so grateful of the great example set by the previous president and the board, and the current board actually helping, because of course it's a huge team effort and we would be completely lost without,
Yes.
our whole team. And through this, there are, different parts of our team. Some of us work in healthcare, and so we are trying to bring our mindset that we have already from WITS, into our everyday lives.
Yeah.
And I think we are all lucky enough to work also in companies that share this worldview and that share really the support of more equitable future, especially in healthcare, where it makes a huge difference.
So, how do you address and mitigate biases in AI and machine learning models, especially when analyzing genome data for healthcare solutions?
I think this is a really, really a huge topic, and it
Yeah.
might be a little difficult for me to answer. Actually, I think now it's almost on the top of my tongue, because this topic keeps coming up very often. I think, yeah, we will, or we have already had some really good discussions and presentations on this subject. Actually, that was also another part of a challenge that we joined, because us women in data science, we collaborate with a lot of different communities. So
Right.
not only in healthcare, but what comes to my mind is we had a challenge where we were trying to see how biased sports reporting is and how we could actually remove this bias.
Right.
And it would seem like a simple thing, right? Let's say, let's just throw away some gendered language. Let's just, focus on describing the athlete regardless of their gender, not really
Yes.
using some words that are unnecessary. But it was very difficult. And in this challenge, we could only do a prototype. But actually, when we think about it, there are so many also unconscious biases that we have. And the AI tools are also made, they are human made. So there are still the biases that we have. So we have double the job. We create a tool that is potentially, unfortunately, biased. And then we
Yes.
have already our human bias. So I don't know if I would be the right person to really give you the right answer. I just think that it's a complete, very complicated, that it's very complicated journey.
Yes.
Albeit, I think the use of AI is also complicated in itself when applied
Yes.
to healthcare, as it's a bit of a unknown variable that we don't really know, and it's very difficult to convince actually then the stakeholders or patients or the end users that we have, some really explainable solution.
Yeah.
But I mean, definitely it can be used, but as we always say, AI is as biased as us. So I think
Yes.
unless we can really remove the bias, which I think by talking to people, which I think by spreading this wonderful message of, let's say, including everyone and making the world more equitable, I think that once that is done, then also our AI can remove the biases we have already created in the past.
That is so true. Now, what initiatives or strategies would you suggest to make data science education more inclusive and accessible to underrepresented groups?
Do you mean which ones I would suggest them to make their work more accessible, or oh,
No.
no,
So when I talk
the
about
opposite?
underrepresented groups, I'm thinking of, say, people in Africa who might have a passion to study data science, don't have the money. You talked about the events that you attended. You would have had to have the money to fly to another country to attend the event, right? So, what can be done to make these opportunities more accessible to underrepresented groups?
What I think is great, and thank you for the clarification. The datathons actually are, or the workshops are accessible online. So if I'm not mistaken, there is also an initiative locally in Africa for actually the datathon and for, let's say, the educational resources that can either be accessed online because they are recorded at no cost at all, or I think locally there is also a chapter of WITS which works towards bringing the resources there locally.
Okay.
But the great point of the conferences, of course, the events that we organize here locally. That's difficult, I understand, to fly from a different country. But what I think is great, that really all the datathons, there are many upskilling workshops that WITS Global is organizing. They can be all found on the website and accessed at no cost. So I think that's already one step forward. Plus,
Yeah.
then we record our sessions and put them on our YouTube channel. So if your audience would also like to check it out, then they could also learn some new interesting insights. And I
That's
believe
wonderful.
that this is the first step. Of course, we need to always do more. And I
Yeah.
understand that we need to reach more and more people around the world, more audience, and bring it closer to
Yes.
people who might not have the local chapter yet there or access. But I think
Mm,
it's a great, first step or steps in the right direction.
okay. So, what advice would you give to aspiring data scientists from diverse backgrounds or underrepresented groups who wish to enter the field? Any advice for them?
I think definitely joining us is a great step. Networking with the community without, let's say, well, it's an altruistic advice, honestly.
Yes.
I think that if possible, networking with individuals from data science, especially women who are supporting the others, let's say to rise, I mean, in terms of the data science career, to access or also, if possible, to attend some events if they are happening around. It's a great place to network, to commit yourself to lifelong learning. There are many great resources online, really, that can be accessed, that can help, let's say, the audience also further educate themselves or do some self-study or join a workshop where they could also be taught by some of the representatives here, because that's also a great way of learning, I think. So these
Okay.
are the first few that come to mind.
Okay. So, my last question for you, and as I'm asking the question, please type in the link to your website in the chat so I can share it with the interview. But my last question is, looking forwards, what are the most promising opportunities that you see for leveraging data science to solve healthcare problems? And how does diversity play a role in realizing these opportunities?
That's another excellent question that I think is really multifaceted. Um, I do think that the pandemic has taught us a lot in terms of, let's say, global outreach or reaching people at the other side of the globe than we are at the moment. So I think we are really on a great path towards more equitable world. And I think it has also taught us that there is no one fit for all with vaccines, let's say, which basically the pharmaceutical companies had to work under a great duress and at a fast pace, and made it possible, although we could then see some pitfalls, let's say, of not all the vaccines working similar or in the same way, just
Okay.
similarly in different parts of the world. So I think that that's a big learning experience, and that we can actually, despite something really terrible happening, such as the pandemic, that can be also a learning experience in including everyone in the decision making and in the sample, let's say, for the future drugs, for the future vaccines that we need to develop. And I really think that those are the first good steps in in creating more equitable healthcare. And also, I think that really movements like, initiatives like yours or ours, just really changing the mindset of people, are the step in the right direction. Because once people realize that it's possible, they are much more prone on actually developing the solution once they unlock this potential, once they even form the thought, okay, I can do this. We can do this together.
I love it. Well, it looks like there's a lot of work ahead of you. Congratulations for finding a field that is really going to help humanity move forwards. And thank you for the work of your organization in making these opportunities accessible to anybody who has access to the internet. So I've got your website scrolling at the bottom of the screen. If anybody out there is interested, you've now got a contact in Switzerland who you can get hold of. And there's the organization that can support you to get there. So thank you again so much for coming online and sharing your personal story, your work with your organization. Really excited to be connected to you and to share you with our community as well.
Thank you so much for the invitation, for having me, and for all the excellent questions and the lovely interview.
It has been a pleasure. And thank you to everybody who's tuned in today. The Diversity Connector is a platform that is bringing you voices and stories of people from all over the world, different aspects of life, so that we can connect, share ideas, and celebrate our diversity as human beings. So tune in again tomorrow when I interview yet another amazing guest. In the meantime, have a fantastic day, morning, or evening, wherever you are in the world. And Zusana, thank you again for the interview.
Thank you so much. Have a lovely day.
Bye for now, everybody. That's a wrap, everybody, on today's episode of the Diversity Connector podcast. Thank you for tuning in and being part of our vibrant and global conversation. I'm your host, Gertrude Mache, and it's been an honor to share this space with you, where voices from all walks of life come together to weave a tapestry of diverse perspectives. Remember, every story you've heard today is a thread in the larger fabric of our shared humanity. So, as you step back into your world, carry these stories with you and let them inspire you to embrace and celebrate the rich diversity around us. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review our podcast to help us share these inspiring stories with more listeners. Do follow us on social media by looking for the Diversity Connector podcast for more updates. Until then, keep connecting, keep listening, and keep celebrating the beauty of diversity. This is the Diversity Connector podcast signing off. Stay curious, stay open, and definitely stay connected.